I've sailed in a suite on every major cruise line in the United States this year. Not just one ship and not just one brand, all of them. Some felt like private yachts at sea, and others barely felt like an upgrade. And after seeing how wildly different these luxury experiences really are, the rankings were not what I expected. Hey y'all, I'm Evan with Family at Sea, where we help make every cruise unforgettable. Before we get into the rankings, a quick note on how this is going to work. I'm only ranking cruise lines with major presence in the US that offer a true, dedicated suite experience. So that means lines like Carnival, Holland America, Margaritaville at Sea, and international brands aren't part of this list. The suite products we'll be ranking in alphabetical order are the Celebrity Retreat, Disney Concierge, MSC Yacht Club, Norwegian Haven, Princess Sanctuary on Sphere class ships only, Royal Caribbean Suites, and Virgin Voyages Rockstar. Each is being judged on their rooms, service, lounges, dining, pool decks, what's actually included, and overall value. And to keep this fair, I'm only looking at the newest ships for each line and only the entry-level suite tiers. So that means no Star Class on Royal Caribbean, no Mega Rockstar on Virgin, etc. And to keep this from turning into an hour-long video, there are areas where I could have gone deeper, but that's intentional to keep this from becoming an hour-long video. So with that out of the way, let's get to it with our worst ranked suite experience, and this one was a big surprise for me. We're starting at the bottom of the list, and this one genuinely surprised me. Disney does a lot of things exceptionally well, but unfortunately, the concierge experience is not one of them. Despite their absurd suite prices, embarkation on Disney is easily the slowest and most chaotic of every cruise line on this list. Where most cruise lines have you on the ship within 15 to 20 minutes from the moment you arrive at the terminal to the first steps on board, it was over an hour from our port arrival time until we finally boarded after a lengthy wait in the concierge lounge, which was really just a room with uncomfortable seating and a few drinks, but no food options at all. And once we made it on board, things didn't get any better as they guided us to another long line, enter 1923 for the concierge lunch, where we'd have the same lunch that's already available on the other side of 1923 for everybody else. But our side, well, it had much longer lines. So instead of exploring the ship while it was empty, we waited and waited and waited, and sadly, that set the tone for everything that was to come in concierge. The rooms were another letdown. At the entry concierge level, the suites are essentially the same standard veranda cabins with a different label and upgraded body wash. Now, yes, Disney has some incredible high-end suites, but those aren't what's being evaluated here. And at the base concierge tier, there's no real upgrade in space or layout. The service provided at the concierge level is mostly, but not entirely, friendly, but very limited. There's a concierge desk with restricted hours, there's no butlers, and waiting was common when you needed help with literally anything, whether it was getting a drink, ordering breakfast, or simply trying to ask the concierge a question. At the forward of Deck 12, there's a concierge lounge that sounds great on paper, but in practice it's crowded, has very limited bar hours, and a very small bar that was often completely occupied by teenagers, which made it difficult for adults to actually use the space as intended. And unlike most suite experiences on this list, Disney Concierge does not include a suite restaurant, and the limited food options they do have in the concierge lounge are paired with the worst service I think I've ever received on any cruise line in a suite or not. We had to walk out after extremely long waits for breakfast twice, and the day my kids really wanted Disney's signature Mickey Churro waffles that are no longer available in the buffet on the brand new Disney Destiny, at least they weren't on our sailing, the wait to get them was over an hour, which is absurd. There's no dedicated pool deck either, just a small sun deck with a couple of hot tubs and a pool bench and a pool bar that I never saw open a single time, but I was told they do have limited hours on sea days. And then there's the price. On our sailing, concierge worked out to more than $3,000 per day, and other than an open bar for a few hours when most people are at dinner or the shows, it comes with very little. There's no drink packages, only 24 hours of Wi Fi access, no thermal spa access, and if you want to take advantage of getting seats for the show, you'll need to be prepared to get there 30 to 45 minutes early as there's no reserved seating. So somehow Disney is both the most expensive suite offering out there while also providing the least amenities and an experience that's easily the worst of any cruise line in these rankings. So if there's one takeaway from Disney Concierge, it's this. Price alone tells you nothing about value or the experience you can expect. And when prices are bouncing around and promotions changing every 5 minutes, it's almost impossible to know if you're getting a great deal or just clicking whatever sounds urgent. That's why I don't leave my bookings to chance. I use Cruises It. They're a travel agency that puts somebody in your corner. So when things go sideways, instead of calling some random 800 number and sitting on hold with someone who's never stepped foot on the ship, you've got a real person. Someone who knows your sailing, knows the cruise line, and can actually fix problems before they ruin your vacation. They've saved us money, unlocked perks we didn't even know we qualified for, and they always make sure we don't end up like Frank, who showed up to the terminal on the wrong date and confidently told the port agent, it's basically the same cruise. Frank, same ship, wrong week is not a technicality. With their low price guarantee and real humans who actually know what they're doing, Cruises It makes cruising simpler, cheaper, and way less stressful. So click the link in the description below or call the number on the screen and tell them Evan from Family at Sea sent you. You'll be glad you did. Up next at number 6 is Virgin Voyages Rockstar Experience. And full transparency here, I've only sailed Virgin Voyages once and I didn't actually stay in a Rockstar suite, but I did have access to the suite amenities for the sailing. So while I wasn't sleeping in a suite, I experienced the Rockstar ecosystem itself. So with that said, Virgin Voyages is a tricky one to rank because the vibe is amazing, but the suite experience itself doesn't fully come together at the base Rockstar level. Embarkation is solid but not special. There's a VIP lounge with drinks and light snacks, and Mega Rockstars get day beds, but while most cruise lines have suite guests boarding the ships by 11 a.m., Virgin's later 2 p.m. start takes some of the shine off the experience. And on the back end, you only get to stay an hour longer on debarkation day than other cruise lines, so it's not really an equitable trade-off. Now, the rooms are where Rockstar starts to blur the line between suite and upgraded cabin. At the entry Rockstar level, you're not getting a dramatic leap in space or layout compared to a good balcony. The real wow factor rooms do exist, but even their top-end rooms don't compete with the top suites you'll find on a lot of the other cruise lines on this list. But service is a highlight. Rockstar agents are essentially Virgin's version of a butler, and while experiences vary, the approach is refreshingly relaxed and far more personal than other cruise lines. And when it works, it really works. But where Rockstar falls short is infrastructure. There's no Rockstar lounge and no suite restaurant, and instead, everything funnels into Richard's rooftop, which is a large, stylish sun deck up top with hot tubs that are open 24/7, which I gotta say, that's genuinely unique as I don't ever remember seeing that on any other cruise lines. But the bar hours here are extremely limited, and the seating looks better than it functions. Value-wise, Rockstar pricing is reasonable compared to other suite products, starting around $900 a day, but that's because it includes less. There's no drink package unless you go Mega Rockstar, which is double the price, and there's no thermal spa access, and much of what's included, like Wi-Fi, is given to everybody regardless of being in a suite. Virgin Rockstar is cool, it's fun and very on-brand, but as a suite ecosystem, it definitely feels incomplete. When the Sun Princess launched as the first Sphere-class ship in 2024, Princess decided to add their name to the list of cruise lines offering a suite experience with their new Sanctuary experience, but it stops short of what most people expect at this level. And it all starts with embarkation. There's no priority boarding, no dedicated suite check-in, and no private waiting area, so suite guests are standing in the same very long lines as everyone else, which is a rough start for a product positioned as premium. There's a variety of different levels of rooms to get access to the Sanctuary, from Sanctuary balconies that aren't suites at all to mini suites and then full-on suites. And I'll say pricing is where the Sanctuary does start to make sense. Full suites generally start around $1,200 per night, type, but the real value play is the Sanctuary mini suites and cabana options, which can get you access to everything except the signature lounge for as low as $600 to $700 per night. One of the other things that's really lacking is the Sanctuary is not a ship in a ship experience, with the Sanctuary restaurant down on deck 8, the signature lounge on decks 15 and 16, and the Sanctuary Club, which is the pool deck, up on deck 18. And the Sanctuary rooms themselves are spread out all over the ship. There's a concierge desk in the signature lounge, but the hours here are very limited, and more than half the time when they were supposed to be available, they were away from the desk, so getting any help at all was very hit or miss. Beyond that, there's no butlers, and nothing about the service really feels proactive. The signature lounge looks great with beautiful aft views, but it's a very quiet space with no bar seating, limited food, and limited hours that make it feel like a box Princess wanted to check to say, hey, we have one too, instead of a place guests actually look forward to spending time in. Sanctuary Restaurant does have good service, and we really like their nightly prime rib cart at dinner, but the problem is scale. A typical suite restaurant is designed to serve 200 to 300 guests per evening across 4 hours, so the experience feels personal. But with the Sanctuary Restaurant also being available to guests in mini suites and Sanctuary balcony cabins, it serves 2 to 3 times more people every evening, so it feels a lot more like a main dining room with an elevated menu than it does an actual intimate dining experience. And there's also a serious lack of any ocean views across the entire restaurant, which is very low scale and surprising for what they were trying to do. Now, credit where it's due, the Sanctuary Club pool deck is genuinely nice. It's got a nice sized pool, hot tubs, a great bar, and the best cabanas I've seen on a cruise ship, but they are very pricey upgrades. Overall, the Sanctuary feels more like a premium add on, kind of like Faster the Fun on Carnival, than it does a true suite experience. It's a good value, but it's not truly elevated. All right, now we're getting to the good stuff. Royal Caribbean suites lack a fancy name like the Sanctuary or Retreat, but there's not much else lacking here. And it all begins with embarkation. Royal suite guests move quickly from curb to ship, often taking their first steps on board within 15 minutes of arriving at the terminal, with a separate terminal area with better seating and light food and drinks. It feels smooth and premium right out of the gate, and Royal's newest ships have some of the most outrageous suites at sea, but those live at the ultra premium end where you're potentially paying more than $15,000 per night for Star Class, but that's not what we're ranking here. At the Sky Class level, the rooms are nice, but not dramatically different from a good balcony, though, with a bit more space to breathe and a nicer bathroom. The service in Sky Class is good, but nothing special, and you won't find butlers at this level, or genies as they call them in Star Class. While there is a concierge desk in the suite lounge, their hours are limited. They technically have a suite lounge on royal ships, but this is really more an extension of the Coastal Kitchen restaurant with a bar and light snacks and comfortable seating. But it's not a destination space like on the lines ahead of it on this list. Dining at Coastal Kitchen, which is the suite restaurant, is a strong point with a good menu, great service, and although there's no ocean views on the Icon class ships, you still get a cool look at the Aqua Theater. One drawback there, though, is that reservations are required, which is typically not the case in suite restaurants, but this is so they know how many tables they can book for guests in junior suites and, well, the Pinnacles. Pinnacle members are the top loyalty tier royal cruisers who get access to suite amenities without even staying in a suite, and if you're near one, they'll be sure to let you know. They proudly wear their gold name badges, and they start showing up for dinner 30 minutes before the first seating so they can be sure to take every table with a window seat before the suite guests ever have a chance. And their presence isn't limited to dinner, as they often dominate the lounge and pool spaces, and it takes away from the exclusivity of the experience. The Grove, which is the suite pool deck, includes a pool, hot tub, nice spread of food through the day, a small bar with some of the best bartenders you'll ever see, what's up Ephraim, and 2 decks of expansive seating, so it's never hard to find a spot to lounge and relax. Pricing on Royal is at the top end of the suite prices, even for a Sky Junior suite, with prices typically starting around $1,500 per night, and they go up from there. This includes a drink package and Wi-Fi on Icon class ships, but while you're getting access to an elevated experience, it's also not a ship in a ship experience, with many of the rooms being clear on the other side of the ship, which on a ship this big is a long way to go. So while Royal delivers big hardware, the experience feels incomplete unless you go all in at the very top with a Star Class suite. Celebrity's Retreat is one of the most polished and consistent suite experiences on this list, especially if you value calm, adult living luxury over spectacle. Embarkation sets the tone immediately. Suite guests have access to a private terminal lounge with food and drinks, and followed by a butler escort on board. And from curb to ship, it can take as little as 15 minutes, and the process feels smooth and intentional from start to finish. There's a wide variety of cabin types in the retreat, from the magic carpet sky suites up to their ultra premium tiers, and the layouts are thoughtful, modern, and comfortable. And even at the lower suite levels, the rooms feel purpose built rather than just upgraded balconies. And the service is a standout. Every suite includes a butler, and you're able to reach them via WhatsApp at any time. So whether you're at the pool or in port at an excursion, you can connect with them, and this makes a real difference when you need something and you're not in your cabin. Concierge support is also available, though with limited hours. The retreat lounge is a beautiful light-filled space with comfortable seating, but the lack of bar seating hurts its usefulness, especially in the evenings. But it's a pleasant place to relax, just not a social hub. But dining is where the retreat truly shines. Lumine is arguably the best suite restaurant of all the suite experiences, with a strong, rotating menu, excellent service, and the option to order from the main dining room as well. The views are nice as well, though not as dramatic as some competitors. The retreat pool deck is excellent with a pool, multiple hot tubs, tons of seating, and attentive service. And surprisingly, the pricing in the retreat is very competitive, with Magic Carpet Sky Suites starting around $800 per night on off-peak sailings, and pricing includes Wi-Fi and a drink package, though thermal spa access is only included with Aqua Class suites. The retreat isn't a ship within a ship experience like the next two, but it still delivers one of the most refined and reliable suite experiences at sea. Norwegian's Haven is one of the most complete suite concepts at sea, and it's the first product on this list that is a true ship within a ship experience, with all areas fully self-contained. Embarkation can be hit or miss depending on the terminal, but once you're on board, the experience locks in quickly. Haven guests have access to private elevators that take you directly into the Haven complex, separating you from the crowds almost immediately. And the rooms in the Haven are amongst the very best you'll find at sea. Even at the lower Haven tiers, the suites feel like a real step up, but there's a huge variety of different layouts, from modest to completely over the top. The finishes are higher end than their competitors, the bathrooms are notably better, and the upper tier Haven suites are genuinely impressive, even if those aren't the focus here. And the service is strong across most areas. The Haven butlers and room stewards are excellent, and when you get a great team, the experience feels very personal and truly elevated. The one weak point with service in the Haven is their limited concierge availability, and there's no clearly visible Haven director presence the way you might expect to see this level. But the real standout is the Haven Lounge. There's a huge wraparound bar with incredible ocean views, a great drink menu, and a social energy that pulls people in. In fact, the only small complaint I have here is it closes far too early. Now, I will say, dining in the Haven leaves a bit to be desired. And by a bit, I really mean it leaves a lot to be desired. Dinner in the Haven restaurant requires reservations, which takes away from the laid-back experience Norwegian tries to promote, and they have the same menu every single night of the cruise. So if you like trying different dishes and having new options every night, you're out of luck in the Haven. This is especially problematic if you're vegetarian like my wife is, because there's only a single vegetarian entree on the entire menu. Now, they say you can special order things the day before if you want, but that doesn't feel like a premium experience. And when we tried to do that for my wife, they forgot and didn't have anything available to her the next day. But that said, the Haven pool deck is excellent, with an infinity pool, shaded seating, a huge bar, and a separate adults only area upstairs with two hot tubs and more comfortable seating in an area that feels genuinely private. But the pricing reflects the experience. Haven Suites genuinely start around $1,200 to $1,500 per night. While it delivers a lot, many inclusions like full Wi-Fi and thermal spa access still cost extra. And guys, I gotta say, as great as the Haven is, once you compare it to what's coming next, you'll understand why it's number 2 on this list. And coming in at number 1 is MSC's Yacht Club, and this is the most complete and effortless suite experience on this list, and it's the benchmark for what a suite experience should be on any cruise ship. As soon as you exit your vehicle, you'll see the Yacht Club tent where they're waiting to take your luggage and escort you into the dedicated suite lounge in the terminal, where they'll get you checked in while you enjoy a glass of Prosecco and grab a snack until your butler arrives a moment later to escort you onto the ship. Of course, they're going to stop by your muster station to get you checked in before bringing you to the top sail lounge, where you're greeted with more Prosecco, more food, and even more comfortable seating. But you won't be there long before your butler for the week ahead arrives to introduce themselves and escorts you to your cabin for the very first time. The Yacht Club cabins are nice, though perhaps not the flashiest at sea, but even the most basic Yacht Club Deluxe suites are a meaningful step up from a standard balcony cabin with clean designs, quality finishes, a fully stocked minibar that's refilled daily, and an espresso machine. At the top end, while the premium suites are nice, they're not as over the top as you'll find in some other lines, but they're still very nice. But it's the service where the Yacht Club separates itself. There's a dedicated Yacht Club director who is visible, engaged, and actively managing the experience from start to finish. They'll check in with you daily to proactively identify any needs you may have versus jumping in only when there's a problem. In addition to that, there's concierge service that's available 24/7 in a dedicated space, and while butler experiences can vary, the overall support system is strong enough that any gaps don't derail the experience. And the Top Sail Lounge is the best suite lounge at sea, especially on the C-class ships where they have ample bar seating, finger foods available throughout the day, and at night it transforms into the space to be. The lounge has expansive forward ocean views, live music, and service available until 1 a.m. every night. Take note of that, Haven. And it also includes a premium drink package that makes it a place where people actually want to spend time. And when you're ready to grab dinner, you simply walk up the crystal staircase from the center of the Top Sail Lounge to the incredible Yacht Club restaurant, which offers rotating menus, consistent service with the same wait staff each night, so you can build a personal connection that continually improves over the course of the week as the service team gets to know your needs better. And that's worth mentioning because at number 2 in the Haven restaurant, you've got different servers every night of the week, so they just never get to know you the same way they do in the Yacht Club restaurant. There's no reservations needed, no menu repetition, and there's no friction throughout the experience. And then there's the pool deck. On the world-class ship, this space admittedly took a step back with a pool tucked back into a corner without ocean views, and they replaced the buffet with a sit-down restaurant called the Yacht Club Grill. They also removed the bar from the pool deck on the world-class ships, which is unfortunate, but it's still an incredible pool deck that offers private space, attentive service, and food brought to you without fighting crowds. Historically, Yacht Club pricing used to be well below that of the competition, which was incredible when you consider everything that's included. But unfortunately, their pricing has caught up with competition, with a typical 7-day sailing now typically costing you in the range of $1,000 to $1,500 per night for an entry-level suite. But even still, they offer more than everybody else on the market, including a premium drink package, 2 Wi-Fi devices per person, reserved show seating, thermal spa access, and even an exclusive area of Ocean Key, which is their private island and a true Caribbean paradise. But what sets the Yacht Club apart is that nothing feels compromised. Every part of the experience is polished, intentional, and the epitome of luxury. And that's why it's number 1 on this list. But here's the bad news. Even when you pick the right suite, a lot of people still massively overpay for it. Between shifting fares, fake deals, and bad timing, it's way too easy to pay thousands more than you should without even realizing it. But the good news? Give me 11 more minutes and I'll show you how to never pay full price for a cruise again. No shady booking sites, no last minute stress, just a few simple strategies that can save you hundreds and maybe even thousands on your next sailing. So don't stop here, check out that video next and I'll show you exactly how we cruise better for less. I'll see you there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.